Hello again. A quick one for you. Not because it doesn't deserve longer, but because put it down. This is a really, really interesting read. And I kind of want to just talk about it while it's still rattling around inside my brain. It's Lia Hills, The Desert Knows Her Name. And it comes to us in Australia from Affirm Press. Just finished it, as I said. And yeah, it's a very, very interesting read. It's very, very well written. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's set in the Wimmera, outside a sort of, I think the town is meant to be Horsham, and we have a woman not exactly in her prime, living kind of on the edge of the town and on the edge of the desert. And this is her childhood home. She's come back there after time away, with her career. There's a little bit of family history going on, and there's a lot of, as you realise later, kind of deeper history going on. But she's back, and she's fascinated by all the land and the plants that don't exist anymore but used to exist, and that she's interested in rewilding this plot of land that she has, extensive, was a family farm. And basically, she just wants to rewild it with native species. And all the way through the story, as we're going, this character, Beth, is kind of cataloguing the plants. And it must be said that Hill's knowledge at this point of the plants native to the area must be absolutely encyclopedic, because you got that, but you got that with this descriptive detail of what all everything, the plant, the life, the way the wind moves, the bird call. There's a kind of a catalogue of the natural, the world we live in, and the land as it sort of holds us. And one day, from the desert, out of the desert, walks a young girl who may be about 11, 12. And by the way things work out, she ends up on Beth's property, and Beth takes her in. The girl is mute, and Beth just understands that she has to give this girl sanctuary. But of course, the world being what the world is, everybody ends up knowing that she's there, and everybody comes to check her out. And you realise sooner or later that everybody kind of wants a piece of her story, or they want to make up a story because the girl isn't telling them her story because she can't. Or maybe she can, but she's not going to at this point. Everybody makes up their version, and it all becomes a little bit wild and hairy. It is a thriller. In many ways, this is a thriller, but in many ways it also isn't. It's kind of a look at the history of place and what place means. Our main character is Beth. There's another character who's absolutely vital on many levels to the plot, and he's the owner of the bar, which of course is quite brilliant, because then you get access to all the other players in the town and all their vested interests and their family histories. And it's very much about history, the history of the land, and the history of this town in particular. I think, well, I don't want to give too much away, but there is obviously a connection to the... Let's put it this way, that the land is one of the most important features of this book. And she writes about this with this intense, laser-like gaze and deep understanding of, no matter who you are, what the land means, and how we care for it, and who cares for it, and what it holds, the history it holds. So we are in all the territory of Australian history, First Nations history, of what settling has done to the land and the people, and whether, and how do we reconcile all the different, ways of looking at how we inhabit the space we inhabit. But what I loved was this kind of but these kind of patchwork, if you like, of there's some parts of the text which are actually historical documents, some are imagined letters with kind of parts missing. So there's always this kind of haunting of history or of the unsaid. There are sections where you live the experience of a young girl who's found herself cut off from society and has to live with the land, with what it will give her, to understand what plants she can eat, what will feed her, and how she can, what are the signals she gets from nature in order that she can survive and survive. That's the most important. So it's a book about survival. It's a book about everybody's kind of emotional state, their losses, and on a very deep level, the losses of First Nations peoples, the complicated and yet very simple history of settling, of living, the difference between living off the land or living on it and with the land. It's a very it's got all of these big issues, but this lovely sort of patchwork of different texts, different sort of the cataloguing of the everything that Beth sees, Nate's personal history and his own traumas. It's very lovely. There's a lovely interpersonal interreactions. The girl herself is kind of feisty, and you very much deeply invested in who she is and what her story is, and this kind of feeling that everybody kind of wants a piece of her. And the fact, which is quite brilliant, that a girl walks out of the desert, everybody's instantly going to make up their minds what it is, and Hills just delivers this superb story and satisfies us on very many levels with her answer. Absolutely terrific. Great for, well, you'll be chatting about it for a while, I'd say, once you put it down, which is what books are for. That's it. I'm not going to say any more. If you like this, you could sort of say that you like it, and you can subscribe if you're bothered. And I will be back with another one soon. See you.